Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Means we're brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're here with us. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Glenn West with us in 30 minutes talking Tigers. We'll have Colin Jeter at the top of hour number 2. Sheree Bishack talking Saints at 2:30. I've got some statistics to dive into with LSU basketball that I want to get into. Can the Saints finish this thing out strong over the last 3 games of the season? We'll get into a little bit of that. And I got a question on Twitter earlier today when I was soliciting questions for a mailbag for LouisianaSports.net. 5 best baseball players I've seen play at LSU. We'll get into that at the end of the hour. It's a little bit of a filler topic, but let's be honest, this time of year, there is a little bit of filler to be applied at this point. There is not a ton going on with LSU football at this very moment. There is not anything going on with LSU basketball until Friday. Baseball is gone. You got women's basketball playing today at 11 o'clock. They were 72.5-point favorites today. Yes, that's correct, 72.5-point favorites today. They were up 52-17 at halftime. So there's a little bit of a lull in activity on the field, on the court at this point. So if we need to sneak in 10 minutes on the 5 best baseball players I've seen at LSU, we can do that at the end of this hour, as we will now do every single day. Let's crank things up with our Fabry Chevrolet GMC opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Look, Lane Kiffin's got his feet on the ground here in Baton Rouge. The early signing period is over. Most of his staff is put together. It's not complete, but most of it is put together. LSU has got a bowl game to prepare for that they'll play in 11 days. Lane Kiffin is not intimately involved in that. So next up is essentially all eyes on the transfer portal. In the first place, everyone is going to look in the transfer portal is Oxford, Mississippi, where Lane Kiffin has a lot of players he recruited to Ole Miss that could potentially go in the transfer portal. That's not to single out Ole Miss. Everybody has got players that can go in the transfer portal. But generally speaking, when head coaches move job to job, some players follow. That's just the nature of how things go. The 2 guys that are garnering the most attention in internet land are Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback, and Kejuan Lacey, the running back. They are kind of the 2 headliners from this Ole Miss team. And so the question has to be asked, potentially, could they end up in Baton Rouge? And we're going to play some bites from Lacey and Chambliss yesterday, and I want you to keep in mind as you're listening to this, if that's how you're consuming this. If you're watching, you'll see it. But if you're listening to this press conference is being conducted in front of a college football playoff logoed backdrop. This is in preparation for the biggest game in the history of Mississippi football. Not the school, the state. There's never been a playoff game in the state of Mississippi. These teams haven't competed for a national championship in decades and decades and decades. And while this game is coming up 5 days away, Lacey and Chambliss are taking questions like this. It's not an ideal situation for the sport of college football, but it is of interest to us down here in Baton Rouge, so we're going to hear from it. You'll get the questions that are included here in these bites, but this is Kejuan Lacey, who's had a monster season for Ole Miss, talking about potentially following his coach.
Kejuan, so there was a video leaked out, some audio of Lane talking about you specifically, how you going to follow him to LSU. When you saw that come out, what was your response to it?
It was just a surprise. I just been keeping my mindset on just trying to go 1-0 and focus on the run we're having right now. So I don't get into all of that.
Now am I live? All right. Now I'm up. All right. We didn't quite have that. Do we think we can get that tweaked out, because like these are bites that we really. I think that they are very, very telling on both fronts with Lacey and Chambliss, and we've got them via YouTube. And it's an awkward spot for both guys to be in. And what's interesting is that both guys watched their head coach do this song and dance for 3 weeks in November. So there is precedent here for the same Ole Miss beat reporters kind of asking the same questions, albeit to people in different positions. Lane Kiffin under contract at Ole Miss, theoretically going to a rival. Everyone understands that these guys could potentially be free agents. So we'll try this again. This is Kewan Lacey talking about following Lane Kiffin potentially to LSU.
Kewan, so there was a video leaked out, some audio of Lane talking about you specifically, how you going to follow him to LSU. When you saw that come out, what was your response to it?
It was just a surprise. I just been keeping my mindset on just trying to go 1-0 and focus on the run we're having right now. So I don't get into all of that.
That's basically what you heard from Lane Kiffin. Like, just trying to go 1-0. We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to keep things locked in with what we're doing here at Ole Miss. Like, just not elaborating, not going to talk about those types of things. And so what is another piece to this puzzle is that Kewan Lacey, who transferred in to Ole Miss, is working under position coach Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith is the other person named in that video that they're referencing, where it's Lane Kiffin talking on speakerphone to his kids saying that Kewan Lacey and Kevin Smith are both going to end up at LSU. And there's been a lot of drama whether or not Lane Kiffin's going to keep Frank Wilson on staff as running backs coach, or whether or not he's going to bring Kevin Smith with him. And so the question was posed to Kewan Lacey, like, about his relationship with Kevin Smith and what that may mean for his future.
You mentioned still having your coach here. Not everyone can I guess say that. So how beneficial is that for you during this stretch?
It's very beneficial. I feel like, we break down film, go over our footwork and everything. So just having that structure still is important.
What's been your relationship like with Kevin Smith since the recruiting process through now? And how has it grown even?
It's been great. He's a great teacher. So I feel like I learned a lot from him each day. Like, there's never a day where I don't learn anything in the meeting room. So
I think it's likely that Kewan Lacey and Kevin Smith are together next football season. I think it's possible that's in Oxford. I listened to Neil McCready and Chase Parham today. They seem to think that it's likely those two will be in Baton Rouge next year. And interestingly, that Frank Wilson will be in Oxford. That's kind of the scuttlebutt at this point. We're not going to learn anything about that, I don't believe, until Ole Miss's season and LSU season are done. Frank Wilson's not going to talk about Ole Miss while he's coaching LSU. Kevin Smith and Kewan Lacey aren't going to talk about LSU while they're playing for Ole Miss. That's just going to be something that's kicked down the road until those two games, and potentially more for Ole Miss, are come to their resolution. But it feels like there's a strong possibility that Kewan Lacey and Kevin Smith are both in Baton Rouge next year. Now, the question on the next side comes with Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback. Now, his situation is a little more complicated because Chambliss is appealing for an extra year. He's essentially looking for a medical back when he was at Ferris State that doesn't have a lot of documentation, is what a lot of folks on the Ole Miss side of thing are reporting once that appeal was made. But he answered some questions, kind of, about first waiting on that waiver.
On the waiver deal, like, is it, I don't know, how tough is that to just put it in the Lord's hands when, I mean, quarterbacks who get Heisman votes, like, they generally get life-changing money. Like, that waiver, I imagine, means a lot to you.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, I feel like it would be great for another year to, develop in college football. I obviously was playing D2 ball a lot of my college career, so, transitioning to the NFL, playing in another conference like the SEC would, benefit me for the next level. And it is kind of tough. It's been kind of stressing me out recently, but, I just got to put it in God's parking lot, really.
So he's telling you there, I want to play college football again. The development, obviously huge. College quarterbacks make a lot of money, and that's a big deal. And I think that question was very well asked, and I thought it was very well answered by Trinidad Chambliss. But then the next question comes, and it's okay, if it does get approved, like, then what?
Trinidad, if you do get that waiver, would you anticipate, if it's college, being at Ole Miss, or would you have to consider everything because that's part of it? It's all year to year. So, what would be your considerations in that way?
Yeah, no, definitely. You hit it right on the nail. I would have to consider like what the best situation is for me, what I feel most comfortable with, who I trust the most, and just get a feel for every possibility really. So there's a lot that goes into that.
I'll just read the room there. Like, that sounds like a guy who wants to play for Lane Kiffin, who I trust, what situation. I mean, he was asked if he would plan to play that at Ole Miss, where he is currently the quarterback in the playoffs with Ole Miss on his shirt, and his answer did not mention Ole Miss once. And I mean, we did this whole song and dance with Lane Kiffin about how I told you, like, he's simply not answering the question. He won't answer the question. If he could answer the question in a way that was positive for Ole Miss, where he's currently employed and on a generational, quite literally generational run, like, he would do that. But he didn't want to because he knew the answer wasn't positive for Ole Miss. And that's just where it feels with Trinidad Chambliss as well. If you're a fan, you would love to hear Trinidad Chambliss, a fan of Ole Miss, say, oh, Ole Miss is home. Like, this is where I feel like I got an opportunity to play at the highest level in college football. It's been a dream to be here and to play for the Ole Miss Rebels and to be in this town and to be in that stadium and represent the state and our fans the way that we have. It's just been a dream, and I certainly hope that I can do it again. But there's just nothing to that effect whatsoever in that answer. All you get in that answer is, got to look at my situation, got to look at my options, and see who I trust. And if the reports are correct, and I think there's been a lot of potential embellishment with a lot of things over the last 6 weeks, you hear reports that Trinidad Chambliss was the only player that went to bat for Lane Kiffin when Lane wanted to be the coach for Ole Miss in the playoffs. I don't know if that's true or not. I wasn't there. But if that's the case, like, okay. Like, it makes a lot of sense that he would follow Lane Kiffin to LSU. The question becomes for LSU, like, does he get eligible? Does he enter the portal? And then who else is in the portal? And based on time frame, do you want to get left holding the bag if Trinidad Chambliss doesn't get that waiver but does play into the semifinals, and then you've lost all the other quarterbacks you were pursuing into the transfer portal? They've gone elsewhere because you were waiting on Trinidad Chambliss, and then he's not eligible. There are going to be some things to juggle for Lane Kiffin if he does go into the transfer portal. But this is just, I want to be very clear at the end of this segment. Very clear. This is my opinion. This is not based in any sourcing or any fact whatsoever. My opinion, listening to these two players talk and knowing the dynamics at play in college football. My opinion is it feels very possible that in the next 3 weeks, Kevin Smith is LSU's running backs coach, Trinidad Chambliss is LSU's quarterback, and Kejuan Lacey is at LSU playing running back. It feels very possible that that's the case. Now, what does that mean for Frank Wilson? I think it probably means he's at Ole Miss. What does that mean for Harlem Berry? I don't know. What does that mean for Caden Durham? I don't know. Do I feel confident that Trinidad Chambliss is going to get that waiver? I never know with the NCAA. Diego Pavia seems like I have to play, and TJ Finley get to play as long as they want, it seems. So I don't know. But listening to those answers, where neither Trinidad Chambliss nor Kejuan Lacey ever mentioned Ole Miss or playing for the Rebels or wanting to be back next year, or anything of that nature when asked these questions, is indicative to me that they've got their eyes elsewhere with their former head coach. My opinion, my guess. Will it come to fruition? I guess that's what the next 3 weeks are for. And that's kind of what we're going to do now, is sit on our hands and wait till the transfer portal opens, and there's going to be just a flood of activity into and out of LSU, I think, and that will shape what this 2026 LSU football team will look like in year one under Lane Kiffin. Will it feature Kejuan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss? I guess we'll just have to find out. That is our opening drive. Let's step aside when we come back. Saints, can they turn a corner here?
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. You're talking about a community bank that's been in our communities and here in Southeast Louisiana for 115 years. One thing that stood out to me when I was speaking with the folks over at First American Bank and Trust is that the management at their branches, the average is about 25 years with the bank. It's because they've cultivated such an amazing community, and they've got such a community feel, both with their clients and within their structure. And you understand that when you do business with them, whether you're looking for a residential loan or a commercial loan, you're dealing with people from your community. When you call them, you're getting someone in Southeast Louisiana. You're not getting a call center in Atlanta or San Francisco. You're not getting the runaround or dealing with machines. You're dealing with people right here in South Louisiana. And you're thinking, oh, well, that sounds great. It's community service. That's one thing that's great. But when I deal with this national bank, you're talking about significant resources that I need. Well, they've got that at First American Bank and Trust. You're talking about 25 locations, okay? They got plenty of assets. And they're happy to help you live your dream, whether it's a commercial loan or residential loan to buy that home. It's First American Bank and Trust, 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana, 115 years here. They'll be here for another 115. We believe it's First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email LockeMeredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Darrell May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Darrell May Remax Partners.
All right, back here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. We'll chat with Glenn West coming up here in about 10 minutes from now. I'm going to be honest. This has a lot to do with the result of the game on Sunday. A lot to do with the result of the last two Saints games. I'm going to sip a little bit of Kool-Aid today. Allow me to. It's a Tuesday. They don't play again for a while. They've won 2 games in a row. It's been a long 2 years. I'm going to sip a little bit of Kool-Aid here. We talked about Tyler Shuck and the New Orleans Saints yesterday and how he was making winning plays. And it's not a work of art, but he's also just doing some really good things. Getting the ball down the field, making winning plays in clutch moments, showing his athleticism, using his legs, avoiding big mistakes and big turnovers. And Shuck is a huge piece to this puzzle. He's the biggest piece on the field to this puzzle, and he's going to get a lot of analysis in the next 3 weeks as to where the direction of this franchise is headed. But right now, if you had to wager, you would have to wager that Shuck has played himself into being the Saints quarterback next year and the Saints not selecting a quarterback in the first round of this draft. I think that's fair to say. So you start to look away from that big, huge talking point, because there's a world where Tyler Shuck could have turned the ball over 14 times over the last 7 weeks and the Saints gone 1-6, and Tyler Shuck proved himself as a rookie to be unfit for NFL play. Like, that happens to a lot of quarterbacks, especially guys that aren't taken in the first round. And at that point, you would have had to look very, very closely at quarterbacks if you were picked first, second, third in the draft. Absolutely. But he's playing himself to a spot where that's out of the discussion. So I start to look elsewhere on this roster, and one of the things that we harped on in the spring was just how important this Saints draft class was. And who was the first player they took in this draft class? Well, it's Kelvin Banks. And Kelvin Banks, in the first 6 weeks of the season, per Pro Football Focus, playing left tackle as a rookie, averaged a grade of 61.9, which is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's about what you would expect from a rookie left tackle in the NFL. But what have you seen from him of late? Well, if you look back since week 9, he's only got 1 grade lower than that 61.9 he averaged through the first 6-7 weeks of the season. At LA, against one of the best fronts in the NFL, 73 grade offensively, run blocking 84.4 in that game. I'm not going to go through grade by grade by grade because numbers don't play great, but you understand, like, 84.4 is elite stuff, and that's a great front in LA. And he continued to build on that. Against Carolina, his grade was 72.1. And his pass blocking was 87.8. His grades against Atlanta, Miami, Tampa, Carolina, 4 weeks in a row, the last 4 weeks. 74.5, really good. 58, that's the 1 week he was below that first 6-week average recently. But then in week 14, 79.9. Had an 80 run blocking grade and almost an 80 overall grade. And then last week, 76.5 against Carolina. His pass blocking grade was 81.3. His run blocking was 78.0. I know that's a lot of numbers, and I apologize, but you're catching the drift. All these grades are somewhere between 78 and 84. This is big-time stuff that you're seeing toward the back half of his rookie season. He is proving his worth as a left tackle in the National Football League. Massive to get that kind of production. Shuck was next in that draft class, obviously. But you're seeing some of the other guys from that draft class play well. Quincy Riley has not been to the level of Kelvin Banks from a PFF grade standpoint, but keep in mind, Kelvin Banks was a top 10 pick. You took Quincy Riley in the middle rounds, and you're seeing him make some plays. It's not all perfect. He got beat for a touchdown on Sunday. I got it. Like, it's not every play is great, but he's around the football. He's been involved in some turnovers. One of the things that I want to see from somebody at that position at safety, I want to see someone who shows up on the screen, who comes down and makes some hits around the line of scrimmage, who is making tackles in the secondary, who is getting his hands on some football, knocking the ball away, deflecting some passes, and he is doing some of those things. He is performing above a level that you would expect from a mid-round pick rookie. He's a fourth rounder. Your hit rate on fourth-round picks is not great, just league-wide. And the Saints' middle-round picks have really not been great of late. But Riley looks like he might be a hit. And then you look at Devin Neal, who has made some plays when given the opportunity now with Alvin Kamara down. And that's another mid-round pick. And if you think that this is the baseline for these guys, if what you're getting out of Kelvin Banks and Tyler Shuck and Quincy Riley and Devin Neal is their baseline, well, all of a sudden, you've got, in 3 of those cases, definitely starting players. I wouldn't put Devin Neal right there just yet, but in 3 cases, starting players from that draft class. And I told you needed 4. And Jonas Sanker is, with Riley on the corner, Sanker at safety, he's showing himself to be around the ball. He's showing himself to be a serviceable player at this point. That would be your 4th guy, and we haven't even gotten to Danny Stutzman yet, who's really not able to play as many snaps as he might as the other guys are because you've got Warner and Davis in front of him. But what you've got here is an opportunity. And it's just that. It's an opportunity. It's not a certainty. It's an opportunity for these last 3 weeks to transform the energy around this franchise. If you can win at least 2 of these last 3, and you would imagine those need to be against the Jets and the Titans. If you win those 2 have won 4 games in a row, with Atlanta coming at the end, and you can find a way to win that, with Shutt playing the way that he is, and rookies in your draft class playing the way that they may, all of a sudden, this 2-year malaise turns into some real positive juice. Now, they got to go do it. Like, Shutt can't go throw 4 picks on Sunday. You don't need to lose to the Jets or the Titans. But it's right there. Like, the wins the last 2 weeks have created a possibility where New Orleans can kind of reshape what the fan base really thinks of. I saw power rankings today that had the Saints at 25th. Now, that's not great. But considering if I rewound 3 weeks, they were probably 30th, 29th, 31st, you're moving in the right direction. And if you win 4 games in a row, 5 games in a row to close the season, I realize I'm reaching. I told you at the front of the segment I was reaching. But it's not that crazy. All of a sudden, with the way this division looks right now, positivity is not that outlandish. Positivity was pretty damn outlandish 5-6 weeks ago. You had no real reason to feel great about the quarterback spot, no real reason to feel great about the young talent on this team. And oh, by the way, I looked at the salary cap situation, and it stinks for this offseason. It's bad. You got massive dead money from Carr, and you've got we're way over the cap again. But you go from 30th to 17th if you click ahead to 2027. Now, 17th is not great, but it's an indication of where the books are going. And the Saints haven't been 17th in available cap space in 2 decades. So again, like, I'm reaching for some real positives here, but they're not completely outlandish. It starts with Shuck. It continues with Banks and Sanker and Riley and Neal. And it trickles over to Kellen Moore. And then you're 1 draft class away with all that massive old money coming off the books in a year and a half to being able to breathe. It's like the Shawshank Redemption when he comes out in the rainstorm. Like, things were in a real tough spot a month and a half ago. And they're still not fixed by any stretch of the imagination. And we know how most people, myself included, feel about Mickey Loomis. And we know that you're 2 awful weeks away from us completely throwing dirt on this whole thing again. But on this Tuesday, while they've won 2 games in a row, and you got 2 winnable games coming up, and Tyler Shuck's playing very well, and I'm watching Dan Orlovsky break down tape of how well Tyler Shuck is playing, I'm going to drink a little bit of Kool-Aid on this Tuesday before we get ready for Sunday's game. And it feels like you can see a little bit of light in what is a long, dark tunnel. Now, it can get cloudy again. We know that. But I feel like there is some reason with the way this young draft class is playing and now with winning some games led by the quarterback that you could have something. You could. It's not out of the question. We'll leave it at that. We'll come back with Glenn West talking Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. They are on Segan at Perkins. Looking to work on your game in the winter, that's hard. Driving range doesn't have a lot of grass on it because the grass doesn't grow in the winter. It's cold. It gets dark early. Sometimes it rains. The rain doesn't dry up. Gets sloppy. It's just not a great environment to work on your golf game in the winter. But Swing Easy Golf Club provides that. It's climate controlled. It's inside. You work on the simulator. Telling you this technology they've got on the simulator is accurate. You can see your ball flight. You can see how far you're carrying the ball. You can hit drivers and wedges. You can see what your club face is doing at impact with their slow-mo impact camera. You can see how your ball is responding, whether it's hooking, drawing, fading, slicing. And you can keep working on your game in a climate-controlled area, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, light, dark, cold, warm. You can do it over at Swing Easy Golf Club. They're on Segan at Perkins. You can find them online at swingeasygcbr.com. Swing Easy Golf Club.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Darrell May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Darrell May Remax Partners.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Darrell May, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Looking to buy, sell a home here in Baton Rouge? Contact my guy, Darrell May with Remax Partners, DarrellMayProperties.com, DarrellMayProperties.com. Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday, as he does every single week. Glenn, how are you?
I'm doing well, Hunt. How about yourself?
I'm all right. I know a lot of buzz is on the internet about LSU and what they do at quarterback moving forward. A lot of quarterbacks making their intentions known that they're going to head into the transfer portal. Any of that catching your eye?
Yeah, I think a couple of them are really interesting. I think Morsby is a really interesting prospect. I think DJ Lagway is a really interesting possibility. I think, honestly, the best possibility for me, though, is just the guys that maybe haven't entered yet, but I could see entering. I think Sam Levette is certainly an interesting option. Somebody from who, from all accounts, is going to enter the portal. Fits kind of that Lane Kiffin quarterback that can move his legs a little bit and kind of fits that system. And the only downside with him is that he could potentially be missing some time, due to his Liz Frank injury that he's coming back from. But I really like the idea of Sam Levette potentially being an option for Lane Kiffin and LSU. And then Trinidad Chambliss. If Chambliss is able to get that waiver, I think that makes all the sense in the world. If he were to enter the portal, the LSU would be all over him as a potential, kind of one-year stopgap between what you hope is, a long-term future option that you're also able to find in the portal as well. So those are just a couple of the guys that I think, seem interesting to me. But Levette and Chambliss, I think, would be my ideal scenarios for LSU.
It's hard for me to envision a situation where LSU has adequate bodies at quarterback next year. I think that would involve Michael Van Buren staying and adding 2 veteran quarterbacks, which just seems hard to do. I know money talks, but how do you feel like Lane Kiffin handles that situation in January?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that it certainly hinges on, LSU feeling comfortable at the quarterback position. We'll have to include Michael Van Buren on the roster. I think. I don't think you can completely overhaul this quarterback room with 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the cycle in January, February. But I think if you're able to go out there and you're able to find a one-year starter, you're able to make that pitch that, okay, we have this one-year kind of stopgap, and then you can tell Van Buren, you can tell another young quarterback that maybe you bring in that, hey, you can be competing for the starting job the next year. I don't know. We'll see if that's something that, Van Buren and quarterback portal young player X are willing to listen to. But I do think that that's kind of the situation that LSU is going to have to find itself in here. I mean, obviously you've got a young quarterback committed in Peyton Houston in 2027. That's still a year away. But I do think that the best option for LSU is to kind of find a short-term answer for 2026 that can run the Kiffin offense. And then going out and finding another young player that maybe has a little bit of experience or maybe has the high-end potential that you're looking for at the position that has several years of eligibility, and then you make that pitch to him that you can come in and you can compete for playing time, but also have an opportunity there in 2027 to really win that job.
Let's talk about this roster as it's constituted for the next 2 weeks. It feels like we kind of have a basic idea of who's going to play and who's not in the Texas Bowl. What does that suggest to you based on what you've heard about who intends to potentially be back next year?
Yeah, I think on defense in particular, there's not going to be as many portal entries as you might think. And I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that Blake Baker and a lot of this defensive staff were retained. And I think that's a really good thing for LSU. because the one thing you don't want to have to do is have to completely overhaul this defense, right? You feel good about some of the returning pieces like DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland, perhaps a Gabriel Relaford if he comes off that injury and is able to come back, to strong to form. I think Whit Weeks is a very interesting question as to whether or not you can get him back for a senior year. So you have some foundational pieces on defense that make you think that, hey, you can really build something solid here with some extra portal entries or extra portal additions without losing too much on that side of the ball. I think offense is where it gets tricky because I do think that there are only a handful of players that, if I'm Lane Kiffin and on this new offensive staff, that I'm really beating down the door to get back. I think Harlan Berry and Trey'Dez Green are right at the top of the list, and certainly several of the offensive linemen. I think Karius Kern, Solomon Thomas, Tyree Adams, those would be guys that I would be really trying to convince to get back into the program. Braylon Moore maybe is another one who's draft eligible that I think, a year of health and another offensive line coach and a more development could really help him. I think that LSU's in a weird position there just because I do think that there are going to be a lot of entries from the offensive side of the ball. But that's also where you're expecting to do most of your damage in the portal as well. So I do think that there are going to be some players that, elect to play in this game that do enter the portal. We've already seen a couple who have announced, Ahmad Bro, Juwan Johnson, but they are going to be playing in the bowl game. And maybe those decisions here over the next couple of weeks are still a little bit undecided. Maybe the defensive staff can get in Bro's ear a little bit more. Maybe Lane Kiffin, can watch a couple of these practices and get into Juwan Johnson's ear a little bit more about potentially not entering the portal. So I don't think it's going to be a situation where 4 years ago, Brian Kelly was, hired and there was only 38 players on the roster. I do think that they're going to be able to retain, a good portion of this roster and then supplement through the portal where they need to at spots of need.
What does your gut tell you about Frank Wilson's future?
My gut says that Frank will not be back. I think that's kind of my opinion right now. I think that can certainly change after the bowl game, depending on what situations develop. Obviously, Kevin Smith is the big one to watch over in Oxford if LSU and Lane Kiffin are able to convince him to come over when Ole Miss is done with their playoff run. But look, I think if Lane Kiffin really wanted Frank Wilson to be the running backs coach, that announcement would have already been made. And I think there's, just a lot of unclarity right now, uncertainty around Frank Wilson and his future here. I would certainly love to have Frank back. I think what he does for recruiting is, immensely valuable. But at the same time, I do think LSU is going to be able to recruit Louisiana. They're going to be able to recruit New Orleans. They're going to be able to recruit really high-end talent because of the offensive scheme and the mind that Lane Kiffin is, and certainly what he's built through offensively throughout his career.
Let's switch over to basketball here while I got you. You were in Smoothie King Center on Saturday. What'd you think?
This is the blueprint for how they can have some success, and I don't mean in the way that they shot the ball. When you shoot 62% from the floor and over 45% from three, chances are you're going to win games. I think it's the way that they were able to do that really stood out to me. They did a really nice job, I think, turning their defense into offense. They didn't put themselves in very many precarious situations with bad shots on the offensive side of the ball. They played with pace. They played fast. They played free. And I thought that they did a really nice job, especially De'Don Thomas, orchestrating the offense. I thought when Michael Nwoko and Robert Miller got into some early foul trouble, the performances you saw from Markel Sutton and Pablo Tamba were really important on both ends of the floor. They did a nice job of controlling the paint in that game. And then the big thing, though, is that they got some threes to fall. And if LSU is going to want to be a successful offense in SEC play, they're going to have some shooters step up, and it can't just be Max McKinnon. McKinnon's been a little bit of a streaky shooter for LSU this year, but they have to find some other complementary outside shooters that can help really open the floor, because this is going to be, at the end of the day, I think, an inside-out offense, an offense that wants to convert points in the paint, get to the free throw line and shoot at a high percentage there. And the only way to do that is to get, teams from packing the paint on you by hitting shots on the outside. And you saw in the Texas Tech game, they didn't think LSU was a threat on the outside, and they packed the paint, and it affected LSU's performance on the inside. I think LSU being able to shoot the ball, and particularly McKinnon being able to shoot the ball from the outside, really helped LSU in that game on Saturday. And that's the blueprint for how they're going to have to win games in the conference as well.
What's your gut tell you? You look at this team; they're probably going to be 12-1 entering SEC play. How do you feel about their prospects when they get there?
Yeah, look, I think that they're going to play Southeastern, Prairie View, and Southern Miss here over the next couple weeks. I think those are three pretty shoe-in games that you should be able to win. And I actually think that the early start to their conference schedule is doable. They play at Texas A&M, they play at Vanderbilt, but they get South Carolina at home. They get Kentucky at home. That's going to be a tough one, although Kentucky has not really played to the level I think many people thought they would at this point in the year. But it really kind of gets hard for LSU down the stretch. In February and March, I do think January is a little bit more they can navigate it a little bit better. But I do think that early 5-game stretch there is going to really tell us a lot about how competitive LSU can be in the conference, because I do think it's probably going to take 9 or 10 wins to get there, to be comfortable with being a tournament team, because the SEC just hasn't performed like it did last year in non-conference play. So there's a blueprint there, there's a path there for this team to have some success, but you still want to see them in that first couple weeks stretch there be able to show that they can perform on the road and that they can take care of business at home.
All right, Glenn, we'll preview the Texas Bowl coming up next week when we do this.
All right.
We'll
Sounds good.
We'll talk
Thanks,
next week. It's Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7. Good enough to be with us on Tuesdays. Colin Jeter with us in 15 minutes. Step aside. Come back and close out hour one next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, now under new ownership. You know the Fabry name. They've been in business here in Baton Rouge 35 years. Got a huge inventory of new and pre-owned Chevrolets and GMC. So if this time of year you're looking for a new vehicle, which a lot of folks are, Chevy Tahoes, they got them. Chevy Silverados, they got them. On the GMC side, they got Sierras, Yukons, Denali's. Looking for an SUV or a truck, they've got you covered over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They've had a number of different locations in the Fabry family, but every time you visit one of them, you're going to get unbelievable customer service, and you're going to get that Highway 61 in St. Francisville when you go to Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can check out the entire inventory at FabryChevrolet.com, or make the short drive up to St. Francisville for an awesome amount of savings on a great line of vehicles. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me. Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, ironworkers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Darrell May RE/MAX Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Darrell May RE/MAX Partners.
All right, closing up hour number 1 here. Tuesday show is brought to you by Darrell May of RE/MAX Partners. Darrell's got an amazing skill set in helping you buy and sell homes. He's been a builder in Baton Rouge for more than 20 years and understands what you want to be buying. So if you want a representative on the buy side, Darrell May is happy to help you. That also can help you with sales as well. He has an incredible wealth of knowledge from his time growing up in Baton Rouge, as well as the move out to St. Francisville. So if you're looking for home just outside the city limits, he can help you with that, and certainly knows Baton Rouge inside and out. You can find him at darrellmayproperties.com. So with RE/MAX Partners, brings you our Tuesday shows each and every week. So I'm looking at some of these point spreads. LSU was a 72.5-point favorite in their women's basketball game today. They were playing Morgan State, who entered the game 1-11. If you got some cash down on Morgan State today, you cashed that ticket because LSU only won the game by 58. So it was a rocking chair cover.
No, listen.
Rocking chair cover.
If you're putting any money on that spread, you need to call the hotline. I'm sorry. There's no way. 72-point spread?
Well, guess what? I got an opportunity for you tonight. 9 o'clock p.m., Big Ten Network. UCLA's laying 64.5 on Cal Poly.
Oh, my goodness.
64 and a hook. You can get down on that.
That's ridiculous. The fact that they're even predicting to lose by 70 points is just what is going on? I know it's levels.
There's some haves and have-nots in the world of women's basketball, and it happens. However, I am getting some video. That game's over. 91-33 was the final. There is video now that's on Twitter, and I got to be honest. I am 37 years old. I turn 38 next month. So the 6'7" thing, not something I pay attention to. And my kids are almost 4 and almost 1, so they don't know it either. So it's just it's not in my world.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. LSU scored their 67th point today in women's basketball in the PMAC.
Yeah.
It might have been it was like the earthquake game. It might have been a Richter scale inducing. The kids, and for those that don't know, LSU women's basketball plays one game every year in December at 11 o'clock in the morning during the week, and they bring thousands of kids in on school buses to watch the game, which I think is a really cool thing they do. The 67th point, it was thunderous in there.
Oh, yeah. You would have thought the president walked in or something like that. Nah.
I'm 100% positive this got a far bigger reaction than if any president in American history would have walked in.
Without a doubt.
You could have brought every living president in there at this point, and this would have gotten a bigger response. And the LSU women's basketball players were getting in on it. Kim Mulkey was getting in on it. It was a 67 fiesta in there for this bucket.
Well, I like it. I enjoy it. You know, Cassie's just a little, she doesn't like it too much.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah, she hates it.
It would probably drive me nuts if anyone in my life did it. I don't have it. It's not in my cousins are too old. My kids are too young. I'm too old. It's just not in the not in the sphere.
Well,
but I'm aware
don't
of
speak
it,
too soon. Just
and
don't
I
speak
don't
too
understand what we're doing.
Don't speak too soon.
It was, I mean, if you've got kids that are into the 6-7 thing, show them the LSU women's basketball Twitter page, because the bucket that they got, it was an and one, and the place just went bonkers. It's an indelible moment in LSU women's basketball history. The 67th point against Morgan State at noon on a Tuesday in December. Michaela Williams, 14 points for LSU as they win by 58. But Morgan State covers with ease. So if you got down on Morgan State, I don't even know what their mascot is. It looks like a bear of some sort. The Lady Bears. Lady Bears covered with ease. If you're interested in getting a lot of points, you like to get on the underdogs, you got time. You got till 9 o'clock tonight to get Cal Poly plus the 64.5 against UCLA. That's women's basketball update for the day. That's it for hour number 1 here on this Tuesday edition. If you missed any of the first hour, we talked some LSU football, talked about Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey, their interviews yesterday getting ready for the playoff, and whether or not they could be entering the transfer portal. I think their answers were loud, even though they didn't have a lot of substance to them. That's the substance. We also talked a little about the Saints. Are they finding a little bit of a corner to turn here? You can catch that at Hunt on Saints as well. We'll pause for SportsCenter for national headlines. When we come back, Colin Jeter of the Alumni Association, former tight end, will join us on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, Hitter's House in the rearview mirror, but that doesn't mean it's not an awesome time to get on by Marucci. You can get a campus tour. They're right here in Baton Rouge. Started in a backyard shed in 2004. Now you're talking about the bat, the official bat of Major League Baseball. So if you want to get on by and see the tour, you can do that. Every wooden bat Marucci makes is handcrafted in Baton Rouge. They make about 1,200 a day. If you want an individual tour, a family tour, want to bring the kiddos to see where the official bat of Major League Baseball is made, MarucciSports.com/campus-tour. And every ticket for the tour comes with a 20% discount over at Marucci. So go hit some balls in the cage. See where these unbelievable bats are made. It's a real gem here in Baton Rouge. It is Marucci. Check them out, MarucciSports.com/campus-tour. It's Marucci, where you can go on the campus tour.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose. Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport.
That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Rams hoping receiver Devontae Adams can play in Thursday night's pivotal matchup against the Seahawks. Didn't practice today after aggravating his left hamstring injury on Sunday. LA currently the 1 seed in the NFC is tied with Seattle atop the NFC West, with the Rams owning the tiebreaker. The Spurs contemplating bringing center Victor Wembanyama off the bench again in tonight's NBA Cup final versus the Knicks. 8 Eastern ESPN Radio. Wembanyama played 21 minutes in his return from a calf strain on Saturday. Regardless of how much he plays, he represents a major challenge, notes Knicks coach Mike Brown.
You got to work so hard at not just quote-unquote boxing him out, but hitting him early. You got to do your work early to keep him as far away from the basket as possible. And then everybody else, especially the other near defenders, they got to check their man and then get into his lower back so that he can't get any lift off the ground and go rebound.
Mike Brown on the NBA on ESPN Radio. Indiana's Kurt Cignetti, Associated Press College Football Coach of the Year for the second consecutive year.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, I'll tell you if Liam Cohen has truly fixed Trevor Lawrence or if his play has been a byproduct of their soft schedule. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners. We'll talk Sheree Bishack on the Saints coming up in 30 minutes. I got an LSU baseball question to get to in 15 minutes here. Somebody asked me for the top 5 LSU baseball players I have watched play in person at LSU. I've wrote it for the LouisianaSports.net mailbag, and I'll talk about that in 15 minutes. But for right now, Colin Jeter, LSU Alumni Association, former Tiger tight end, is here with us. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. We're here. Saints got to win this weekend.
Yes.
So all's well. We're on another week.
Both Tigers won in the Smoothie King Center back on Saturday, so that was a good thing. Ran into you there. They both looked good.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was really fun to watch. I thought both teams played great. Obviously, Kim Mulkey's squad, they're rolling through their schedule so far. Then the men's basketball team to get that big win against SMU. I think they may propel us to have a strong season as we go.
I'm hoping so. Let's talk a little bit of football. I'm curious about this. I want to hear your perspective on this. You did not grow up an LSU guy, correct?
That's
You're
correct.
in Texas, like whatever, and so then you go play at LSU. Like I dyed in the wool LSU. I'm 5 years old in Tiger Stadium. My dad, whole deal. So I despise everyone in the SEC. I don't know if you harbor that kind of resentment to everyone in the league, but I'm curious your thoughts on the outcome of, like, do you care if A&M wins some playoff games? Do you care if Ole Miss wins some playoff games? Do you root hard against Alabama?
I think it's one of those things when you take pride, like it's always the matchups when you get to bowl season, playoffs. It's always about the conferences. You know, it's like, oh, well, the SEC lost all these conference games. So in that aspect, I like to see us beat up as a conference. However, if A&M or Bama or whoever else is in it doesn't win the national championship, it's not going to break my heart. So
that's not as impassioned as I want it to be. Like, look, here's the way I think about it. And trust me, you actually played for the school. I'm just Joe fan over here. But, like, I have an elite feeling toward LSU where they stand in the pantheon of college football. LSU in this century has won 3 national championships, has played for a 4th. I look at LSU on par with Alabama, on par with Clemson, on par with Ohio State and Michigan, Georgia, those programs. And I feel like I need to pat A&M and Ole Miss on the head. Like, you've never been to the SC championship game. You've never won a national championship. You've never played for a national championship. Like, I don't want them joining the club. I want to keep my sense of superiority that I haven't earned at all, other than the fact that I just grew up in an LSU house and went to school there. You actually played. Like, you don't feel that way at all?
No, I certainly like the level of us, feeling as an elite program over everyone else. I'm just saying in general, when you got these Big Ten, you got the busting with the boys guys trying to talk trash about SEC and all this kind of stuff. It's just kind of nice to say, oh, well, we smoked y'all this year in the bowl games. But personally, as a program, I hope LSU dominates everybody, and I hope we win every national championship, and I don't think anybody really compares. And me personally, growing up in Texas A&M country, I enjoy beating down those guys, and I'd love to see them not win a national championship. So that's where I'm at.
How would A&M change if they went on a run here? And, like, how would that fan base change? Because, like, nobody that wears those goofy rings and does all their goofy stuff, none of them have ever seen them win anything of significance. Like, none of them. The 75-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, like, never won anything of significance. Would it change how they're viewed and how they feel over there in Land if they got it done?
I think the cult would only grow stronger, which is what I fear.
We don't want
it's
that.
already bad enough. So if they got a national championship on their belt, man, that'd be bad news. So I hope it doesn't happen.
What if Ole Miss won the national championship? What would that mean for Lane Kiffin?
It's such an odd question. I really don't think they'll win it. I think he has a lot to do with their program, obviously. That'd be a weird scenario. Would he claim it as one of his championships because it's his team?
I mean, it's interesting. The question is, like, would he get a ring? And I think the answer is that someone over there would send him one and tell him, please don't put this on Twitter. I realize you're playing with fire doing that because Lane just does everything to troll everyone all the time, and he would probably put it on Twitter anyway. But, like, the radio broadcast team gets a national championship ring when LSU wins one. So
you got
the coach that put the team together and coached them for 12 games, I would think would get one. But you understand the circumstances that led to him being gone, and maybe not. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think deep down, everybody knows who built the program, and everyone knows who was behind the mastermind of the offense, all that kind of stuff. So it'd be one of those things like, sure, kind of like vacated wins. Like, okay, yeah, you can take my wins away, but we still stomped y'all when it came down to game day. So I feel like that's where he'd be at.
Of those three teams, and I'll toss Oklahoma in there as well. So take Georgia out, but the SEC teams, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Bama, and A&M. Like, who do you think's got the best chance to make a run?
I hate to say it. I think it might be A&M just because they have a dominant defense that can run the ball, and their quarterback can make plays off of that, and he's athletic. I think they're probably set up the best as opposed to, I think Ole Miss obviously has a great offense. Bama's been just so up and down this year. It's kind of tough to read them.
Looks terrible. They look terrible against Auburn. They look terrible against Georgia. They just look terrible against Oklahoma. Yeah. They just look terrible to me.
And then Oklahoma, I think, is another team with a great defense, but I just don't think offensively. I think since their quarterback got hurt, he's kind of been hot and cold, and I don't really trust them to win a series of games.
Let's talk about LSU here briefly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the Texas Bowl. We may do a little bit of that next week, as that's the last show before they play next Saturday. But I'm curious your thoughts on Blake Baker staying and what that may do for the continuity of a lot of the young players on the defense. There's a lot of old players on defense that are going to move on. Like Mansour Delane's gone, West Weeks is gone, AJ Halsey's out of eligibility, so is Jacoby and Guillory, and like some of those guys are going to move on. But do you feel like that LSU should be able to keep around a lot of the young defensive players and kind of make that some continuity moving forward into the Kiffin era?
Yeah, I would think so. And I think it's huge to be able to retain your coach and retain your system, more importantly. I mean, a lot of times you'll see with D coordinators, they like to run a 4-3 system where there's 4 down linemen, and some like to run a 3-4 where there's 3 down and there's 4 backers with the outside backers, and it kind of changes a lot of what you do, both on the front and the back end. So to be able to have Blake stay and be able to keep that system and keep the players who he's recruited to fit that system, I think is huge for them to continue to develop. I mean, you see it all the time. More on the offensive side, you always hear about these quarterbacks. It seems to be more in the NFL where they're like, man, they've had 4 coordinators in 5 years, and they're just can't seem to get a system going, and they struggle because of that. I think anytime you have players, especially for the short time span you have them now, 2 to 3 years on campus seems like, to be able to keep them under the same system, I think is huge for their development.
This is something that I hadn't thought of, and then when you were answering that question, I kind of considered it. Like, how much does the defensive change players week in, week out change? Being the offensive-minded head coach is new, but they still got the same defensive coordinator. Does that kind of keep their day-to-day the same? Or because there's a new head coach, like a lot of stuff does change?
I would think your practice might be framed differently now, just based on what Kiffin wants to do. And certain, you have different periods of practice where you do, all right, we're going to do inside drill. We're going to practice kind of the run side of the game. We're going to do 7-on-7 pass, work on the passing game. Then we're going to mix different situations. That will change depending on what Kiffin wants to do. But with Blake, when it comes to his individual periods, his defensive team periods, I would imagine that would stay the same. Because he wants to build his defense the way he wants to do it, and he kind of wants to, I'm sure, as the week goes on, progress and build up that game plan for Saturday. So I would think that stays the same.
And you keep Jake Olson around. You theoretically keep Corey Raymond around. You keep Blake Baker around. You keep Kevin Peoples around. It just feels like the guys on the defensive side of the ball are not going to go through as big a change as the offensive guys who are in for a completely new world.
Yeah. I think offense, who knows? There's a whole lot of change coming in. I'm sure they're going to evaluate the players they have now, how well they fit the system they want to run in the future. So that'll be a lot of change. But defensively, I would think a lot of it maintains.
As far as this goes now, they're out of finals. They've just got the bowl game. They're going to travel here a little bit. Like, what are your memories of bowl week around Christmas and no school and kind of finishing the season with the guys?
Well, it all depends if you have intercession or not. Because if you have intercession, I took accounting during intercession, which was 4 hours a day, 6 days a week for 2 weeks. It's pretty miserable.
That's awful.
It was the worst. But if you're not in that, or you're in perhaps an easier intercession class,
yes,
it's great. You kind of hang out, you sleep in, you go to workout, you go to eat, you go to practice, hang out with the boys. It's a good time.
I talk about that with the baseball players because they finish finals right before the last week and a half of the season, and then they've got a week, and then they've got the SC tournament, and they got regionals, and there's no school. None of those guys are in school at all, and it's just ball and hanging out with the guys, and it's kind of the same thing in a sense with the football team, but I guess if you have an intercession class. So tell me about those days. You had accounting at 8 in the morning?
Yeah, you'd show up. It was 8 a.m. to noon accounting, which is just talk about it was the worst, especially on Saturdays too. And the worst part would be your boys are texting you all day like, "Hey man, let's go grab Kolache Kitchen, let's do this," and we're like, well, I'm sitting here looking at numbers all day, so not so fun.
Is it
and then you show up at noon and you do a workout, and then you do meetings and practice, and you're done at 5 or 6 o'clock, and then you go hang out for a little bit, go to bed, and do it all over again the next day.
I think I took an intercession course, but it certainly wasn't accounting. No shot.
Yeah,
and I did very poorly in accounting.
It's a crash course for sure.
What's new with the Alumni Association? I know y'all had a crew at the basketball game back on Saturday. I feel like with the holidays, probably not a ton unless y'all got something going with the bowl game.
Yeah, man, we're kind of winding down for the year. We've reached that year. It's holiday season, so we've got our gift guide going out. At the Alumni Association, we have the gift shop. If you're looking for last-second gifts for them, even if you're looking for the gift of membership, we got a lot of fun things lined up for 2026. Some Traveling Tigers trips that you may get early access to. So I would really look into that. Look at our website, lsualumni.org, and maybe find ways you can provide gifts this Christmas time.
Absolutely, lsualumni.org. Colin Jeter with us on Tuesdays. We'll talk LSU Houston and the Texas Bowl next week if you want to come hang out.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'll bring my cowboy hat.
Absolutely. Let's talk some LSU baseball. 5 best players I've seen at LSU. Somebody asked me this morning. I'll talk about it. It was very difficult to do, but I narrowed it down. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team, just phenomenal folks to work with in the insurance game. They've got your commercial, property, and casualty covered. They've also got benefits as well. They can be a part of your team. You shouldn't think of insurance as a competition for you. You should think of it as an asset, like your attorney, like your CPA. You're going to have them with you every step of the way. They protect you on the insurance side. And that's what the Howard Insurance Group wants to do for you. Make sure that you don't have any exclusions you're not aware of that could be a loophole that when you should have that claim that is covered, instead, because you were cutting corners on the front end, maybe unbeknownst to you, to save some money on that premium to maybe win that business, and all of a sudden you're exposed. That's never going to happen to you with the Howard Insurance Group, because you don't know when that hurricane's coming. You don't know when that car accident's coming, when that lawsuit's coming, when that employee is going to click the wrong email, and all of a sudden you've got a cyber breach. All that is preventable and coverable with insurance, and the Howard Insurance Group can help you out with that. Reach out to them here in Baton Rouge. HighlandIG.com is the website. It's the Howard Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, ironworkers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Lockmair, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmair, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
All right, so this morning I tossed out the opportunity for a mailbag for LouisianaSports.net. So just send me any questions, baseball, basketball, football, whatever you got, and we'll get to them in a mailbag for LouisianaSports.net. It's a bit of a filler segment. I'm fully will admit that, but I do think that it gives the opportunity for the listeners to engage and for some topics to pop up that I wasn't necessarily considering talking about. And guess what? That did happen because I got a great question from Cajun Guy 000, also Justin Ray 8400, whichever you prefer. But it said top 5 LSU baseball players you have watched play at LSU. So I took that literally. Top 5 LSU baseball players you have watched play at LSU. So I was born in 88. I'm going to scrap everybody pre-1998. I don't have any frame of reference for Ben McDonald, who played when I was born. I don't have a lot of frame of reference for Eddie Furness. I remember when he played at LSU, but I don't know that I ever really watched him outside of the College World Series. I take out Joey Bell, Lyle Mouton, those great pitchers with Laxton and Bird and Sorotka and all them. Like I don't have any frame of reference there. It's basically 2001, if we're being serious. I did not include Eddie Furness in my list. It's basically 2001. So it's 25 years of players who are the 5 best I've seen. This is my opinion, and I really struggled with it. And I'm not even here to tell you that I'm right, but I will give my reasoning for the 5 that I selected. There are 3 non-negotiable locks for me on this list of 5. 3 absolutely, positively must be on the list. The first is Dylan Crews. To me, Dylan Crews is the greatest position player in the history of LSU baseball. He had a 3-year on-base percentage of .498. He almost got on base half the time for 3 years. He's top 5 in LSU history in career home runs. He hit .426 as a junior, won the Golden Spikes Award. To me, Dylan Crews, who got on base every single game of his junior season in which he was the number 2 overall pick and a national champion, he's the best player that LSU's ever had from a position player standpoint, must be on this list. Paul Skeens must be on this list as well. Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in LSU history. He's now one of the 2 best pitchers in the world 3 years later. In his one season at LSU, he set the SEC strikeout record that Ben McDonald had held since 1989. In the NCAA tournament, Paul Skeens threw 32 1/3 innings. He gave up 4 earned runs. His strikeout to walk in the NCAA tournament was 42-3. He started 19 games at LSU. LSU was 16-3 when he started games. 2 of the 3 losses were shortened. One was the SEC tournament where they just took him out in the 3rd inning, and one it rained at South Carolina. And then he lost to Arkansas in an extra inning game, and I think LSU lost 2-1. But Skeens was dominant. He was unhittable. He was the hardest throwing pitcher that Keith Law had ever scouted from a starter perspective. He's the best ever at LSU. Those 2 have to be on the list. And the third one that has to be on the list for me, and I think there are probably some names rattling around in y'all's brain, but this one's easy for me. Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola has to be on this list. He was the best pitcher I had seen before Paul Skeens took over. And I actually did a segment on this show about halfway through Skeens' year where I said, if you gave me one game to win, would it be Aaron Nola or Paul Skeens? And I went through the case, and I laid it out, and I went with Nola halfway through that season. I no longer feel that way. Skeens gets that nod. But I think as time goes on, and because you saw Skeens, you may not quite remember how good Aaron Nola was. He was the National Pitcher of the Year in 2014. He was the SEC Pitcher of the Year in 2013. In 2013, Aaron Nola threw 4 straight complete game victories in SEC play. 4 in a row, 9 innings. In those 4 starts, he allowed a total of 4 runs. 2 of them were shutouts. 2 times he gave up 2 runs. His career strikeout to walk ratio was 344-52. In his NCAA tournament games, LSU was 5-1, and the one loss was a 2-1 loss in Omaha to UCLA, where both Bruin runs were unearned. Alex Bregman kicked that ball at shortstop to allow the winning run to score. How about this? He started 18 regular season SEC games in 2013 and 14. And by the way, these were not game 3s. Aaron Nola was taking the baseball in game 1 of SEC weekends. He did it 18 times. Do you know what LSU's record was in those 18 games when Aaron Nola started in regular season SEC games? 17-1. The one loss was 2-1 at Florida. 17-1 when Aaron Nola started. He was brilliant. He threw strikes. He struck guys out. He went deep into games. One of the most Herculean efforts I've ever seen from an SEC pitcher, an LSU pitcher, was when Christian Ibarra couldn't field a ground ball in the first inning against Sam Houston in the Marble game of the Regional in 2013, and Aaron had to throw 40-plus pitches in the first inning, and he still got through 7 innings of that game. A week later, he stared down Jonathan Gray, the most dominant pitcher in the nation outside of Aaron Nola, and beat him through a complete game shutout. Complete game shutout. Guy was a superstar at LSU, and Skeens was more dominant and threw harder, but Aaron Nola was that dude. So those 3 guys, Crews, Skeens, and Nola, non-negotiables for me on this list. The last 2, I will listen to plenty of arguments. I'm going to give you mine. I'm not going to tell you that is definitively correct. Those 3, I'm not listening to another argument. Crews, Skeens, and Nola have to be on it. I got 2 more. I'm going with Brad Cressy. I know he finished his career in 2000, but I did watch him play. I was at the Super Regional in 2000. I came to a weekend series in 2000. I think the question was asked that I've seen play, and I saw Brad Cressy play in person. I saw him play 5 games, so I think I can count that. He hit 324 over 4 years at LSU. He hit 78 home runs, which was second all-time, 257 runs driven in at LSU. He's got 2 of the top 5 RBI seasons in LSU history, and as a senior, hit 388 with 30 home runs and 106 runs driven in. He was an All-American. He's a national champion. He had the moment. Not a great defender, but an elite hitter, one of the best in LSU history. You can compare him with Eddie Furness. You can compare him with Todd Walker, who I didn't see. You can compare him with some other guys. But as an offensive player, I'm going to go with Brad Cressy as a top 5 player that I've seen at LSU. That final season, 388 with 30 homers. That's pretty loud. I know what era it was. I know what the bats looked like. That guy was a star. And the indelible moment I have in person of Brad Cressy was in the Super Regional against UCLA. He came up. I think it was game 1. Might have been game 2. I don't remember. But I was young. I was 12. But he was digging in, and either Terrio or Fontenot were on first, and they threw a wild pitch, and the runner moved to second. And my dad looked at me and said, they really should walk Cressy. Got a base open. They really shouldn't pitch to him. And they pitched to him, and he hit a line drive home run that was about 11 feet off the ground toward Nicholson in right center field at the old box. That's burned into my brain from Brad Cressy. I've got Cressy in there in the 4th slot. And then there's a lot of options for number 5. Lot of options. I considered plenty of them, and I'll go through some of the names I considered. And I settled on one that I don't think will get anywhere near unanimous approval, but I feel good about it, and I'll lay out the case. Mikey Matuk is my answer. And his last season at LSU, his junior year, was marred because LSU was bad and did not make the NCAA tournament. But that season, on a 13-17 SEC team, he led the Southeastern Conference with a 383 batting average. He led the conference in slugging at 709. He led the conference in walks with 41. He led the conference in steals with 29. He reached base the last 70 games of his career. He was the SEC Player of the Year. He was a first-round pick. He was an elite defender. He had the huge moment as a freshman against Texas with the RBI single to center field in Game 1. I just feel like because of the tools, because of the production, leading the conference in that many categories on a bad team where he didn't have to get pitched to very often, I think separated him from some of the other great players. And look, I know who I'm leaving off. I know I left off Alex Bregman. I know I left off Cade Anderson. I know I left off Blake Dean, who I think was a phenomenal hitter at LSU. I know I left off Alex Lang, who was a savage in the postseason outside of the flukish Coastal game. I know I left off Kevin Gausman, Jared Jones, Trey Morgan. I know I left off a lot of great players. But to me, that's my 5. I'm going with Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens, Aaron Nola, Brad Cressy, and Mikey Matuk as my top 5 players that I've seen. Again, I did not see Ben McDonald. I did not see Todd Walker. I did not see Trey McClure. I didn't see Eddie Furness. These are the guys that I saw, and I recognize the greatness of players I left off. I think Alex Bregman will stun people that I left him off. Alex Bregman was a great player at LSU. I was amazed at his ability to transform himself into an excellent defensive shortstop when he was not as a freshman because he wasn't a high school shortstop. But you look at Bregman statistically, and after his Brooks Wallace Award winning season as a freshman when he hit 369, this was his next 2 years at LSU. 316 with 6 homers and 323 with 9 homers. Now, the bats were different. I know. It was a different era than what we've seen the last couple of years. But statistically, he struggles to match up. Now, it was evident his bat to ball was incredible, and there's a reason he was the second pick in the draft. But there were LSU fans at the time that were like, this guy's not as good as everybody thinks he is. And I go, wait, just wait until the draft. And he's been a brilliant big leaguer, and he was awesome. But when I look at what Matuk did, and I look at what Cressy did, and then I look statistically at what Bregman did, and I know the eras are not the same. Trust me, I watched them. I just have a hard time doing that. And to me, I don't think the Bregman-Cruz discussion is all that close. Not to me. I watched almost every game both those guys played. And I don't find it to be all that close. So I think I feel good about my 5. I'm curious where you would land on yours. I'll be looking at you the Bayou Ford chat to see. I got a Rafe Rhymes in there. No, Rafe was an awesome contact hitter and had that great season. Can't put him in there. Jared Poche was a dog, LSU's all-time leader in wins, but certainly can't put him in the category of some of those guys in terms of stuff and what you do. Somebody says Jared Jones doesn't come close to top 5. Bro, come on. I get that. I'm not going to put him in that category with those guys, but you have to admit he hit more home runs than anyone in LSU history in a 3-year career, more than anyone ever. He's a 2-time national champion. He had monster moments in Omaha, including a walk-off. Like, he's a great hitter. Like, I'm not putting him in the top 5, but to dismiss Jared Jones and what he did, I think would be foolish. Brandon Larson is a really good name to put in there, a 1-year wonder who had a monster season, hit 40 home runs. I didn't see Brandon Larson play in person. He was right before my time. I said basically we're looking at 2000, even though I put Cressy in. I saw Cressy enough to include him. Larson having that kind of year in 98 when he did. Like, I didn't see it. 97. So I'm looking through the Bayou Ford chat, making to see Walker and Furness just roll right off as 1 and 2. Can't not be in anyone's top 5. Again, Nelson, I appreciate that. I can't include him in. That's not the way the question was asked. I wasn't asked for the top 5 players in LSU history. I was asked for the ones that I've seen, and I just couldn't speak to those because I'm not old enough. I would have been 8. They weren't on TV, and I didn't come to a lot of games down here, so I couldn't do it. So. That's a look at top 5. That's a fun exercise to do. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Let's talk Saints with Sheree Bishack when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about one of our newest sponsors. That is, of course, Fabry Chevrolet and GMC. Highway 61 in St. Francisville under new ownership. Been open since October 1st, so highly suggest you get on by. If you're looking for a Chevy, they got Tahoes, they got Silverados. It's a great time to get by and see them. If you're looking for a GMC, Sierras, Yukons, Denali's, they're all there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You know the Fabry family name. They've been doing business in this town for 35 years. You know what you're going to get from a customer service perspective when you deal with the folks at Fabry. You know what you're going to get from a buying experience perspective when you deal with the folks at Fabry. They've had 4 different locations. They've had 5 brands. This is the newest point, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Take that short drive up to St. Francisville and see the folks at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can also go over to FabryChevrolet.com and see the entire inventory right there. If you need to get some work done on your vehicle before you head on that Christmas trip with you and your family, they service all makes. Doesn't have to be a Chevy, doesn't have to be a GMC. They service all makes over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So go by and see them, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, under new ownership from the Fabry family. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Today,
We are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Darrell May RE/MAX Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Darrell May RE/MAX Partners.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Darrell May, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Check him out, DarrellMayProperties.com, DarrellMayProperties.com. Looking for hunting land in Mississippi? Darrell May can help you out with that. Looking for a property on the Mississippi coast? Darrell May can help you out as well. Or if you're just looking to buy or sell a home in Baton Rouge, you can do that with Darrell May of RE/MAX Partners. Sheree Bishack, WDSU down in New Orleans, giving us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday as he does. Saints are hot, Sharif. How are we feeling?
The Saints are hot. And listen to man, they may have a chance to finish the season with 5 straight wins. How about that?
I talked about it in the first hour. Are they going to do that?
I mean, like, it feels like they have so much momentum. I don't know, man. I mean, it feels like there's like a game in this last 3 games that can trip them up. But the way they're playing, like the way Tyler is playing at the end of games like that, man, right now it's kind of hard to bet against them. And the schedule the next 2 games are against teams who are seriously in the tank and trying to take even harder these last few games.
What's been more impressive to you, Tyler Shuck, the way he's handled himself in making winning plays, or the defense with the consistency they've shown week in and week out to keep their team in the game while the offense has come along?
I'm going to go with Tyler Shuck.
Okay.
I mean, because they've been looking for that quarterback. Remember, that's like been the big question mark all off season, if it be Rattler or Shuck, and they went with Rattler, and it's like, oh man, they're going to need to draft a quarterback. Things are looking bad. Shuck comes in, ignites them, does all right in his first start against the Rams, and then he wins that game in Carolina, and then he comes back and wins back-to-back games his last 2 weeks against one of the teams that will win the NFC South and does it in clutch fashion at the end of games. It's Tyler Shuck. I mean, he's just built for the clutch moment. I mean, all that college experience certainly has helped him and getting to this point of his career that's just starting. It's impressive, Hunt. I mean, what he did in the last 2 drives against the Panthers was just unreal, going 8 of 11 for $121 in that touchdown pass to Olave. And he put his body on the line and slid at the end of the game to set up that field goal. Even though he said he kind of flopped his bait there a little bit to get the 15-yard penalty. But the guy is really picking up momentum, and he's picking up confidence with each game so far.
So I heard Chase Young's comment saying that Tyler Shuck may be that dude. And do you sense that his play the last couple of weeks has lifted the morale in that locker room with that team, and that they feel like they may have their leader?
Yeah, I mean, you heard DeMario say it after the beat the Bucks. He has that it.
Yeah.
Now you hear Chase Young say those things about him. Yeah, they have his back. I mean, Olave's a big fan of his. The whole team just has rallied around him so far. I know it's only 6 starts, but it's been an impressive start to his young career in the NFL, and I think it's just really given them a little bit of confidence, and it's given them a little bit of happiness so far, just at least in this season, and now they're looking toward the future with Tyler Shuck. if he keeps this up, which I think he's going to really keep it up, and he's going to continue to grow in many different areas. He's still got a lot of room to grow, which is a good thing if he's playing this well right now through each game that he starts with room to grow.
Have you seen enough from Devon Vele to feel a little bit better about that trade? I know that the injury may keep him out the last 3 games, may not, but it's been a nice little breakout here for him over the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it just sucked to see him in the sling after the game. That's tough. It's tough, man. And I was starting to see that pick was worth it, the 4th and 7th round pick, but that's the last thing you want to see is him be out for the last 3 games, especially the chemistry he and Tyler were building on the field. But yeah, it almost feels like that he's become like that. I hate to say it. I mean, I don't hate to say it, but I mean, it's such a crazy comparison that to see he is Tyler Shuck's Marcus Colston. The way he's able to be a good possession receiver, he's gone over the middle and has been very big for Tyler on 3rd downs, and that's the type of player you need whenever you need a big 3rd down play. That's the type of receiver this team has been looking for quite some time. And physical, get open over the middle of the field, nice hands. He can use his body whenever he's going to get hit. So I've been proven wrong, to be honest with you. A few weeks ago when you asked me this question, I wasn't sure. Now I'm really sure. It's just unfortunate that he got hurt.
How about Charlie Smith? About that story, about the moment and the future?
That's cool. I mean, going from the primary teacher of, getting his degree and like the master's degree and being a teacher to booting a 47-yard field goal. He wanted it to be much farther than that. I think he was looking for 60 yards. He was a little upset that it wasn't farther than 47. He's a good storyteller, man. It's funny to hear him talk. I know it's hard to understand him at times, especially he starts talking fast and you can't hear some of the words he's saying. But man, it's just a cool story. It really is a cool story. He's just sitting on a practice squad since last year, finally gets his chance, man, and he steps up and just hammers that ball home. And it could have been good from 65, probably, the way that thing was rising when it was put to upright. But look, he's just part of he's just part of that class, part of the class of, hey, we're looking ahead to the future. We're building, and we're just hoping we pick these right players in the draft class. We're hoping we have the right kicker who's been on our practice squad. And it was a good moment for him and a good moment for the Saints fans in the Dome. And he says that's all he wants to do, man. He wants to stay here. He wants to play here. He wants to make the fans happy because he knows how much this team means to the city.
Home game, Jets, noon on Sunday. How important is this game to New Orleans? It just feels like the next 2 would be really stubbing your toe when you're trying to create something. How important is winning the next 2?
I think it's how important is it for the next 2 teams to lose the next 2. Those 2 teams are trying to finish in the top 3, top 4 draft. So look, the Jets do have a good defense, but it's just kind of falling off a bit. So I think what you're getting here with the Jets. Offense is miserable. So I know they can fight really hard and they can make it tough on teams. That's the one thing I'm worried about. Like, does this Jets team show up with their defense ready to be locked and loaded and, show that, we can handle Tyler Shuck. But I think that the momentum the Saints have right now after these last 2 games, I know against the division, the 2 division leaders or team tied for the division, they need to take this game a little seriously. Forget about draft picks. They need to continue to build. The offense needs to put up some points. I want to see the offense have faster starts, son. I need to see. So that's the next step in this phase for Tyler Shuck and the offense. I understand pieces are missing because they're hurt, but you have to have quicker starts, better starts, more points, be more efficient to start the game. That's what you need to see here against the Jets, against the Titans. That's what I think everyone wants to see. They want to see Kellen Paul plays consistently like he did in the last 2 drives early in the game. So that's what we're looking at here this week against the Jets in the final home game of the year to send the Saints fans, happy going into the offseason, knowing that their team played those last 2 home games very strong with W's.
We'll see. Let's mention Saints and Jets coming up at noon on Sunday. All right, before we let you go, Tulane headed up to Oxford to play in college football playoff. John Sumrall on his way out, leaving $100,000 there for NIL. How much of a chance do you give Tulane coming up on Saturday afternoon?
I'm going to be obvious with this statement. They're going to play much better than that 45-10 loss back in September. I really do. And I'm wondering, does Ole Miss come out as that scorned X or that X that is still thinking about what happened to them and being left. I think you're going to see a little bit of it being more toward the middle. It isn't going to be a 45-10 game. I think Tulane plays it kind of close there early in the first half. It might be 17-10, 20-10 at half. But I do think that they kind of pull away 34-20, 37-20 Ole Miss. But they're going to go down fighting. I think that both teams are dealing with their different coaching situations. But I do think that Tulane will fight strong. And it isn't going to be a 45-10 game. I know a lot of people are thinking, why is it these two teams in, JMU and Tulane? But I think Tulane will fight strong. And I think that defense will show them that they can keep them in the game. That's Jake Retzloff's situation of being a much better quarterback than he was last time when they played, because he struggled. He was awful in that game in September. So he has to take advantage of the opportunity for that Tulane offense to put up some points.
What are your feelings on the future of Tulane football now that John Summerall's moving on? They've gotten 2 hires right. Can they do it a third time?
That's I don't know, man. That Will Hall thing was kind of interesting to hire. He says that he is, he's going to have to prove people wrong. A lot of people in the room didn't think he should have gotten the job. That's just something he has to prove to everyone, that he can be the coach. I want to see what his staff looks like. I want to see what the players in the portal look like. I want to see how his recruiting classes look like. He can't go 14 of 30 like he did at Southern Miss. So it's going to be a quick hook. They cannot afford to go backwards. I mean, that's the issue. To be determined. I want to give him a chance. Everyone deserves a second chance to head coach. But if it goes sideways, then it's going to have David Harris is going to have to find a new coach.
We shall see. All right, Sheree, we'll be watching. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, man.
You got it, buddy.
Sheree Bishack, WDSU down in New Orleans. Step aside one more time. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, tub to shower conversion can be something that's quick, that's painless for you. Make it happen for you. Be done in 3 to 5 days. You've got a tub, maybe one of those 90s jacuzzi style tubs, big, doesn't work anymore, you never get in it. Get rid of it. That's a lot of space you could use for a walk-in shower. Completely change the aesthetic of your bathroom, change the functionality of your bathroom as well. If you just got an old dingy tub that's kind of collecting God knows what and you don't ever get in it, well, take it out. Put a walk-in shower. That's what David Duvall and his team can do for you. When you think renovation, you think remodel, you might think big dollar signs, big time, very invasive. It doesn't have to be. They can do wholesale remodels. They're more than capable of that at One Bath and Closets. But a lot of times it's smaller projects that they do. They move on quickly. They got financing available for you, and you can get on about your day. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. They've been at it 30 years. They're going to do right the first time and leave the competition behind. One Bath and Closets. Find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
I'm lawyer Colin Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel?
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Had an opportunity to sit down with the gang over at Lifetime Roofing today. Just awesome people. And they care. They care about the community. That's why they gave away a couple of roofs this year, one to a breast cancer survivor, one to an active duty military. And it's why they consider themselves first responders. When there's a weather event, like, you're going to see the folks from Lifetime Roofing show up and help. They're going to show up with chainsaws. There was a tornado in Kentwood a few months ago. And the folks from Lifetime went up there, got a food truck set up, and helped the people who were in a time of crisis. It's because they care. And they're part of this community. It's a relatively new company. They've only been around since 2021, but they've experienced incredible growth. And that's because they care. And that's because of the customer service and attention to detail that they give their customers and their clients. I invite you to check them out, lifetimeroofingla.com. If you're looking for a new roof, if you're looking for a roof inspection, maybe you're just talking about a situation where there's a tune-up for your roof, where it's not necessarily a new roof, but it's just an upgrade to your roof to maintain the integrity of that roof. Not everyone's going to do that for you because, generally speaking, it pays more if you get a whole new roof. They don't care about that. They care about making sure it's done the right way, and that's why you should do business with the folks at Lifetime Roofing. They're online at lifetimeroofingla.com. All right, we're closing up this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, and we do that same way every day with Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Holidays are here. Looking to knock a couple back? How about Flight by Yingling? Delicious, flavorful, light. The next generation of light beer. It is Flight by Yingling.
Okay, so the Miami Dolphins lost last night on Monday Night Football to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike McDaniel was addressing the media today, was talking about maybe a quarterback change moving off from Tua Tagovailoa. He said, quote, the QB play last night was not good enough, so everything is on the table. And the Dolphins' backups currently are Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson. Is this the end of Tua in Miami? Take it or leave it.
It's the end of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Is it the end of Tua? I will leave it. Without looking at his contract, I don't know what the situation is there.
It's steep.
But I have to imagine that there's going to be a lot of shakeup in Miami. It could involve the quarterback, but Mike McDaniel's not going to survive this, I don't think. They won a couple of games against some bad teams, and then they went up and played Pittsburgh, who's very average, and Tua just looks bad. He looks bad. I don't know another way to say it. So I think they'll move on and maybe make a change this year. What that means moving forward, that's probably going to be a new coach's decision.
I kind of feel like the Steelers are like the litmus test of you're good or you're bad. Because if you're good, you're probably going to beat them. But if you're bad, they're going to expose you. So.
It's perma 8-9, 9-8 in Pittsburgh.
All right. So Cooper Flagg just set the single-season NBA scoring record for an 18-year-old with 42 points last night.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, surpassing LeBron James' 37-point game as an 18-year-old in 2003. Flagg turns 19 on Saturday. So will Cooper Flagg live up to the hype? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's
I'll
good.
take it.
He's with a good organization.
Well,
I mean, bad trade, but they've been good for a while.
They've been good. Yes.
And, without Cuban there, I guess maybe it's a little bit different. But, I mean, he's really good. He really played well at Duke. His career ended in a tough way at Duke. But he's a heck of a player. And, he's going to be fine. You're dropping over 40 as an 18-year-old in the NBA.
Yeah.
That's serious. He's got every skill. He's got the size. He's going to be a stud.
All right, so to wrap this thing up, I'm about to say UCLA. USC football has been making waves on social media over the weekend as they've been posting re-signing posts on Twitter like an NFL team announcing signing a new free agent. Is this the new norm of college football? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
It's the time we're in here. It's weird. I mean, you got a team in Ole Miss that's about to play in a playoff game, and all their players are getting questions about are you leaving or not. It's just a weird deal. Their coach already left, so it's it's new, it's different, it's the way things are. And until they flip the calendar up and change the rules, it's how we're going to be. So, I think that's destined to continue as it's going on there in South California. All right, that's it for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of the show today, invite you to catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Open the show today with talking about Trinidad Chambliss and talking about Kewan Lacey and whether or not they're going to stick at Ole Miss or potentially move on. Played some sound from him. I think it's pretty compelling stuff. You can find our Saints conversation at Hunt on Saints moving forward. Thanks to Glenn West and Sheree Bishack. Matt's going to have you know next on AFR. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Daryl May with Remax Partners, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi, looking to buy or sell a home. How about Daryl May of Remax Partners? Now, Daryl has a unique set of skills in the realty market because he spent 2 decades as a builder. So he knows what good construction is. He knows where you might want to be looking, even if you don't. He can help you out with that. He's also phenomenal when it comes to the buying and selling in terms of the knowledge of the area because he grew up in Baton Rouge and he's now a proud St. Francisville native. So if you're talking about buying, selling, or hunting property in Mississippi or the Felicianas, he can help you there with Remax Partners. Check out his website. It's darylmayproperties.com. Again, Mississippi, Louisiana, hunting properties, Gulf Coast, house in the city, secondary home outside the city limits. Daryl May can help you with all of that. Check him out online at darylmayproperties.com. It's Daryl May of Remax Partners.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local.